In this video today, I'm just going to talk about frustration and chronic pain. It appears to so many people, it tends to be a real big blocker for them. So if you're interested in looking a little bit more at this, then watch the video. Frustration is one of the biggest emotions that tends to get in the way of people's recovery. Fear is a big one. Fear can stop people even trying, but when people overcome fears and maybe get some intellectual knowledge about what's occurred in the past, if you like, and how the beliefs and behaviours and kind of this illusion's developed that's stopped someone moving, this fearful illusion, then they pass through it. So they have no more fear about the structure, about the diagnosis, and they hear other people with the same structures and the same diagnosis or labels who no longer have pain. So they kind of get it, and yet their pain doesn't change or only goes a little bit. And I've done this but, and I've read all the books but, and it goes down a little bit but. So there's always this underlying frustration. You could name it as other different emotions, maybe anger or resentment or regret, or essentially the person's frustrated that despite their new knowledge, because this kind of stuff's new to all of us, me included till a few years ago, it's frustrating when it's almost within touching distance and what you apply doesn't change it. So I've been thinking about this, and it's almost like you have to take the view of a person talking to yourself. Like you're talking to a child or talking to an animal, a dog or a cat. Dogs more than cats. I don't know much about cats. But dogs have I kind of understand the affinity with the way you talk to dogs, the way you talk to that animal brain in the way that you want to get it to respond. I know that with children, after having fun with them, that if you use the wrong tone, they get the wrong message. Even when you say the right tone, they still get the wrong message. And the parent gets frustrated. So it's taking that view that you're talking to yourself with a tone like that. Let's assume that frustration is an issue for you because you have intellectual knowledge that you should now know better. Remember, that sits in the conscious part of your brain, but the pain programming, if you like, is wired in the unconscious part of your brain, and that represents your body as well. There's no difference between the two when I say brain. So think of what that frustration or the pain offered in the past, though. If that pain became your voice, because the inner frustration you felt with people and places and times, and not being able to express that, maybe looking at some of the traits that you'll be familiar with now. So not being able to express how hard it was for you, how difficult it was for you to do and to carry on and to perform and deliver, or to help someone, or to get through difficult situations. When you push that hard without being able to say no or set a boundary, your pain becomes your voice. It becomes a representation to other people who see you that you can no longer go to those levels. But the pain does the speaking for you because you can't or haven't been able to in the past. So it becomes the voice, right, to protect the organism, but an outward experience that other people hear or see because you tell them about it or they see how you move. So it's the voice. And it's trained to be the first thing to appear when you feel frustrated. Okay? Now let's say you got this intellectual knowledge in your conscious mind. You read lots of different books and have some techniques to go at. Then when they don't work, and you present that frustration to your unconscious mind again, what's the best way for it to respond back to that frustration? Pain. Because how does it respond to your frustration? Triggers pain. Do you see? It's almost like looking on the other side of a glass and wanting to speak to somebody but them not understanding you. You present your frustration to them and then they deliver an output, which is pain. that makes you frustrated, that you're frustrated again, it delivers an output of pain. So there's got to be the tiniest gap before that automated output comes as pain. But for that to happen, there has to be the tiniest gap where you don't feel frustrated with yourself. Okay, you don't feel frustrated with yourself, irrespective of the output of your body. Depending on a technique you do or some information you think about, you're not going to react with frustration. Okay, so you're going to stay totally calm. Now pick the easiest targets for this, but it's just like saying, talking back to yourself, I understand, I hear you, the pain is the voice that you never had for so long, but now you're telling yourself that you have that voice because you've set these boundaries in place now. So what's happened in the past isn't going to happen again. You're reassuring yourself as if it's a different person to the one that you think you are. You're talking back to them, it's okay, I hear you. Doesn't matter how you respond to me doing this thing, I hear you, but you no longer need to give me that feedback because we're okay. We are going to be okay. We are okay. We're okay now, and I'm showing you we're okay. I don't have the fears that I had. Yes, I recognise I might pop my frustration up to you, but I'm getting better at that. And I'll show you I'm better at it, and you don't need to give me that output. Like you're talking to somebody totally who isn't you, totally third person. You are talking to the unconscious part of your brain, but it's hearing everything, it's sensing everything, it's seeing everything through the filter of the conscious mind, that if you present a frustrating filter, it'll drive the pain. If you present a calm filter in the presence of all the stimulus that comes externally and from our internal environment, and you present no frustration to either, just for small moments, a bit like one of the Harry in the group, Harry Brown said in the group, create that small piece of safety where you're going to commit to acting calmly in that moment. Find that moment, set that boundary to do it, reward yourself for the tiniest little bit of space that you've created and kind of worked within, and your feedback will be less. If you no longer need pain to be your voice because you have one now, then you don't need the pain.